In my previous video, I dropped a strategy on how I trade the Boom 500. So today I'll be dealing squarely on Crash 500. So the first thing I do while trading Crash 500 is to go to the higher time frame, right? I always like to check from the monthly time frame just to check the overriding trend. I would like to know what has been going on in the grand scheme of things. So we can see that in the monthly time frame, it's just been creating new lows, lower lows, and it's at its all-time low, which also means that it's not all that favorable to trading spikes on Crash 500 since the bias obviously, right, is an upward movement. So it doesn't still mean that we still can't take advantage of a few minor little spikes here and there. So having checked the overriding trend, the next thing that I do is to go to either the 30 minutes or the 50-minute time frame, right? Now, unlike Boom 500, we will be checking for major resistance, right? Major resistance. So let's check the 15-minute time frame. So for the 15-minute time frame, we are looking to take our trades from major resistance points. Major resistance points. So we'll just try and identify major resistance point from the most recent occurrence in the market. I remember seeing this trend earlier today, right? So this will pass as a major resistance point. So you can see it was marked. And what I always say is whenever the price hits the major resistance point, you sell. Sell around this point, your first trade. And remember, I can't overemphasize the dollar cost strategy approach to trading, right? So from the very first entry, you put your first minor lot, right? You remember that we always break our lot sizes into pieces. So you put your first lot. So the more it goes against it, you keep adding more lots, because at the end of the day, to always obey the first trade. The first trade on resistance point is what I always like to call my safe entry. My safe entry, a safe entry is a zone where even if it breaks above or beyond it, it always finds its way back towards it, or at least halfway. So this becomes our safe entry, the very first resistance point. So as it's going against it, you just keep adding pieces of the lot sizes which you intend to trade with according to your capital or equity size. So you can see it went all the way up and came back, right? So that this will serve as the very first major resistance point. So let's backtest a little bit and check for other major resistance points. So this can also pass as a major resistance point, right? So let's put our trend line in that area. Yeah, it's a major resistance point. So you can see the moment it got back to the resistance point, there was a reaction, an immediate reaction. You can see the first time it hit it and deflected, it went all the way up, hit it and deflected. So this strategy is very similar to the Boom 500. The Boom 500, remember, we trade supports, but on Crash 500 we are trading major resistance. But there's also something that is worthy of note for the Crash 500. The Boom 500, very often it's what I always term the bull eye. Immediately, very as most times, immediately it hits the major resistance, it obeys it. But for Crash 500, I've observed that sometimes it goes beyond it, a little or far beyond it. So that is why you have to be very careful for your lot sizes, right? Ensure that you are using a sizable capital, a sizable capital to trade it. So the more it just goes beyond, the more you keep adding trades, so long as you've identified your major resistance. So let's look for another major resistance. Now, this could also serve as a major resistance point, right? So it first of all hit this point, came back down, and went all the way back up. So around here, you should be taking your trades, right? The first trade around this place. So the more it goes up, the more you keep adding trades and see what happened. It came all the way down. So let's just keep back testing to identify major major resistance point. So this is another major resistance point. Another major resistance point. So let's add our uh, horizontal line. All right. So let's see if it obeyed it. Of course, it always obeys it. So it's still around this point. But our advice will always go for uh, resistance points that are closer to the previous ones, right? So major resistance points that are closer to the previous one. So this is the first, this is another one, it came all the way back, right? So let's look for major resistance points that are closer to the previous ones. So this could serve as a major resistance. So you just put your uh okay, we've lost that one. So let's look for another though. So this is one as well. So major resistance point here, and see what happened. It hit it around here and deflected. So there's always reaction. Like I said, since Crash 500 is at its all-time low in the grand scheme of things, our advice you do not wait for multiple spikes, right? So a couple of spikes and you are out. A couple of spikes and you're out. I only do wait for multiple spikes when the Crash 500 or the instrument being traded is at its all-time high in terms of crash, and for Boom 500 at its all-time low. So let's look for more major resistance point. So this is another major resistance point, right? So anytime it hits it, you can see, bam, it obeys it. So this strategy is very effective. Like I said, my strategies are almost 100% successful. There are very few periods where they fail. So that will now be subject to your capital size, right? So I always like to term my strategies 100% because those the ones that appear to look bad are the ones that our capitals cannot handle. So if you're having anything less than 100, you need to be very careful. Don't be too ambitious with catching the spikes. So this could actually serve as another major resistance point. You can see it always obeys it, right? So if you have anything less than $100, don't be too ambitious in catching spikes, right? Just go for the little ones. Little. I've dropped about. I'm going to be dropping 6 strategies for catching spikes in across the spike and boom uh, genre, right? So you have 6 strategies for 6 instruments handy. All these instruments can fetch you a lot of money if you are taking advantage of the greater part of the daily opportunities that they present themselves each day, right? You can make so much money with these strategies. All these strategies. So yeah, these are brilliant. This is another major resistance. So there are a lot of them, major resistance points. A lot of them take your trade and crash. So there are a lot of them in the market. This is another one, major resistance point. Yeah, so it's quite easy for the 1 minute time frame. Yes, I use the 1 minute time frame as well. So for the 1 minute time frame, I'm looking to enter my trades from 98.99, right? 98.99. Yeah, it can spikes do happen before 98.99, but like I always say, I use the 1 minute time frame alongside or together with the 15 or 30 minutes time frame. So as long as I have identified uh, my major resistance point, and I come down to the 1 minute time frame to follow through with the movement, the spread. So no matter how small, look at it on the RSI. The RSI around here should be around 98, 99, right? Around here. You can see the 1 minute time frame is going all the way up. So I still do not take my trade except the trend in the 15 minute or 30 minute time frame is approaching or around the major uh, resistance. So that is to say that there are periods where even crash 500 goes all the way to 99 RSI and goes all the way to 99.99 RSI. Yeah, there are periods, it doesn't happen very often, but there are periods it does that. So just using the 1 minute time frame alongside with the um, 30 minutes and the 15 minute time frame just gives you just gives you a better chance and better results, for all the trades you'll be taking. So this is pretty much a very effective strategy and to help you make as much money as you can. So in the coming days, I'll be dropping strategies on how I trade Boom 300 and as well Crash 300. If you want to fund your account, you can use Rexon FX. We are fast, reliable. We are available 247, right? Even at night, we have competitive rates. You can check us out on WhatsApp. The number is on your screen. So thank you very much for watching this video. Do have a wonderful day.